I gained 70 pounds and ruined my relationship. Is it okay to ask my girlfriend to stop making mean comments about it? I just want to start by saying I don't blame her at all. She is a great girl, and I pushed our relationship to breaking point by gaining so much weight that I am no longer attractive. It's all entirely my fault, so I'm not angry with her. It's just that the frequency and increasing nastiness of her comments are starting to get to me a little. Maybe I don't have a right to feel this way, I don't know. I gained almost 70 pounds in our 2-year relationship, mostly due to depression, drinking, and letting up on my previous strict diet. When we started dating, I was fit but a bit chunky at about 190 at 5'11". I had just lost about 40 pounds. I gained that back plus about 25 pounds more during our relationship, and I got to 258 pounds at 5'11" at my biggest. I have now lost 7 pounds on a diet. I'm disgusting. I can't even look at myself. She brought it up after I had gained about 20 pounds, and then the comments got more frequent, and now she makes probably 3+ comments, insults a day about my weight. Here are some example things she has done or said. I know these may seem bad, but I'm not trying to demonize her. She is great otherwise. She refers to me as her morbidly obese boyfriend, to her friends, and anyone else behind my back. I am morbidly obese, I think. So she's not wrong, but it's very embarrassing. I guess I deserve it though. We had an argument, rare, where she called me a disgusting fat pig and said she was counting down the days until I died of obesity. She apologized for that one, and we had a good talk about things after, but she soon went back to the comments. She buys me clothes that are too small. She says it's not on purpose, but I think it is. And then says something like, "Wow, I can't believe you've grown out of that already." One time she made me come with her to the shop to return a pair of jeans and swap for a bigger size. She made a massive fuss about it with the employees and basically just humiliated me in front of everyone in the store. She said she would only have sex with me if I lost at least 70 pounds. She says she can't help but find fat extremely unattractive. I do understand that, and it's okay to have preferences. I'm doing my best to reach that goal, and I want to lose even more than that. She calls me greedy and says I have no self-control. She isn't wrong, but she will make me food then, if I eat it all, say that I have no self-control. I never eat the full amount anymore, so I guess that tactic worked. If she makes me food, I'll only eat like a quarter of it so she doesn't say anything. I get anxiety whenever I eat in front of people now. I get like sweaty palms and think everyone is looking at me. I went out for Christmas dinner with my friends and only ended up eating a few bites because I was so anxious. I know that's a good thing, and I should be thanking her for that, but I don't want that anxiety to stay, even when I lose weight. This isn't her fault though, obviously. She is not responsible for my anxiety. She tries to control everything I eat. I am on a diet and have lost 7 pounds in the last 2 weeks. Not much I know, but I am going to start a water fast at the start of the new year. She didn't force me to do that, but I hate myself to the point where I would rather be dead than live in this body any longer. So I want to lose weight as quick as I possibly can. I know it's not her fault at all. I ruined the relationship when I gained weight, not her. Her reaction is understandable. She doesn't want a fat boyfriend. It must have been frustrating to watch me gain all that weight. I feel terrible for what I've done to her. She always says how much happier I will be if I lose weight, and I know she's right. It's just I can't help but feel hurt and almost afraid of her sometimes. Not like actually afraid, just like afraid that I am physically repulsing her. I unconsciously suck in my stomach whenever I'm around her now. Sometimes she treats me like I'm the most disgusting thing she's ever seen. I agree that I am physically repulsive, but I can't help but be hurt sometimes. Should I just accept it? That's what I have been doing so far. However, since I have started losing weight, is it okay to ask her to stop making comments? Update 1. The general consensus was that she was abusive, which honestly shocked me at first. I really expected every comment to support how she treated me and say she was just trying to help, etc. I thought I deserved to be abused for gaining weight. I still kind of believe that, but I think most people treat their partners with kindness. I never want anyone to feel the way I did due to their partner. Also, the high stress anxiety levels I felt constantly are pretty terrible for losing weight. I had convinced myself that I was disgusting and undeserving of love, and she was just trying to help, but I now realize she probably wasn't even trying to help me at all. It's hard to think that of her, because I love her a lot still despite her faults. I realized there were a lot of things in our relationship that I was uncomfortable with, that I felt like I could never bring up, because she would get upset and start crying, so I would end up comforting her, or she would just turn it on me and get angry and blame me. Things always had to go her way, or she would start crying. My girlfriend was entirely dependent on me for money, and I paid for literally 95% of things. She never wanted to get a job because I paid for her. I was okay with this because I loved her and felt like I had to prove myself to be worthy of her. I paid all the rent and bills. 2 days ago, NYE. I was in our bedroom on my phone when I got a text. It was from an unknown number calling me a fat fuck and something about how I didn't deserve my girlfriend. This wasn't too unusual. I have been receiving abusive texts from several different random numbers for months, mostly about my weight but also about all sorts of things. I had several ideas of who it could be, and it was honestly eating me up inside. It was giving me extreme anxiety because they seemed to know so much about me. A few hours later, on a whim, I decided to call the number. I have done this before, but it never got answered. I even spoofed my phone number, and still nothing. You can probably see where this is going. Vibration came from my girlfriend's bag in the cupboard. I guess she forgot to put it on silent. It was like the biggest sinking feeling I have ever felt. She had purchased a burner phone specifically for texting me abuse. She took time out of her day just to put me down anonymously and wear me down further. She wanted me to be hurt and not trust anyone around me. I truly never thought she was responsible for them. The thought had come into my head a couple times, but I immediately pushed it out. I didn't believe she was capable of something like that. She was always sympathetic when I got the texts and was trying to help me find out who sent them. It hurt so badly. I could almost forgive everything else, but everyone has a breaking point. I just feel completely worthless. How disgusting must I be if my own girlfriend wants to say these things to me? Why would she do this? I don't understand. I guess she wanted me to be under her control, and even more dependent on her emotionally. I'm trying to get out of the mindset that I deserve this. I knew I had to end it, and I had to do it before she would make me change my mind. I gathered all her stuff up and put it into bags. I was getting extremely upset while doing it and almost stopped, but I was also angry. I don't really get angry, and I previously just accepted her treatment, but something in me just snapped. I was actually mad at her for once. She was at her friend's house preparing to go out for NYE. I did feel guilty for ruining her night, but she had already ruined mine. I wanted to try and leave her in 2019 and start the new year without her. I had to do it right then before I thought about it too much, and forgave her like I did for everything else she has done. I called a locksmith to come and change the locks. I knew she would have an extreme reaction to being broken up with by her obese boyfriend who doesn't deserve her, no matter the circumstances anyway, so I just had to do it. I texted her, "I found your other phone. I love you," her name, "but I can't put up with this shit anymore. All your stuff is in bags in the hall. Please come by and collect it tomorrow. I changed the locks, so you will have to let me know when you're coming beforehand. Happy New Year." Yes. Saying Happy New Year was a bit petty. Yes. Saying Happy New Year was a bit petty. To say she didn't respond well to this would be an understatement. She called me crying, telling me she was sorry and would stop. She told me she was just trying to help me and that she was doing it out of love. She told me she loved me more than anything, and she was so sorry. I almost believed her, but I didn't give in. I apologized to her and hung up. She called me back 2 minutes later angry and screaming how could I dare do this to her, called me a fat disgusting piece of shit and said she never loved me. She screamed that she never wanted me and that no one ever will. She screamed that even my own family didn't care about me. This hurt, because my mom was an abusive drug addict, and my dad left when I was 10, and I haven't seen him since. She said that whenever we had sex, she was thinking about her ex and praying for it to be over. I guess she was just trying to say anything that would hurt me. I blocked her number. She called me back again on her friend's phone screaming how dare could I block her, and how dare I could leave her with no place to stay on NYE. I didn't do that. I would never leave her without a place to sleep. She could go to her parents, and she has plenty money that I gave her, so she could get a taxi and stay in a hotel if she preferred. She also said beforehand that she was staying at her friend's that night anyway. She posted on her Instagram story that she was heartbroken and that her boyfriend had left her homeless on NYE due to a little misunderstanding. After everything he put me through, he still does this. I loved him and thought he loved me, but I guess I was wrong. I then received messages from her friends telling me I'm a horrible person and she deserves so much better than me. Her mother, unpleasant person, called me saying she was calling the police on me and that I was abusive. She also brought up my weight and said that it was laughable that I would break up with her looking the way I do and I would never get anyone better. All of this was stressing me out to the extreme. I hate confrontation in any form, and I think I was just constantly shaking the whole evening. My girlfriend's friend ended up calling me on a different number and said that she and her boyfriend weren't comfortable letting my girlfriend stay over at their house anymore. They were freaked out due to my GF screaming abuse at me on the phone, and she was apparently screaming at them as well and saying she was going to kill me. All her other friends at the house were freaked out too, and she was effectively uninvited from their NYE night, and they were trying to find a way to get her to leave. She was telling them that she had no money and no way of getting to her parents. This was just a straight-up lie. I had given her £500 several days ago. I sent her an extra £100 out of guilt anyway. I don't know where she went for a few hours, but she came back to my house around 2 a.m. and started trying to kick the door in and picked up a rock and tried to smash the window. It broke the window but didn't smash all the way through. She was screaming and crying through the letterbox. I ended up caving and letting her in once she calmed down somewhat, as my brother was there with me to back me up. She was drunk and tried to attack me, but I held her back. Eventually, she just started crying. I felt really bad for her at this point and was almost ready to let her stay just for the night. But thankfully, my brother ended up getting a taxi with her to take her to a hotel for the night. I felt really terrible the next day. I loved her, and we spent 2 years together. I keep wondering if she's right, that I will never find anyone again. I can't see why anyone would want me. I also feel really guilty for what I did, and I was probably too harsh on her to just kick her out like that. Her mother came to collect her stuff yesterday and started screaming at me, saying that I ruined her daughter's life, etc., etc. I feel really bad. I hope she's okay, and I want her to get help and realize why she treats people the way she does. I know I wasn't the first. I brushed off so many stories about her and just ignored all the signs. With the weight loss, I am currently continuing my diet instead of water fasting like I planned. I want to try and do a sustainable diet instead of just starving myself for a month and probably gaining it back. I want to try a 7-day water fast to detox though. I also need to stop relying on alcohol to relax in the evening. It was a big reason I gained the weight. I realized I have been consuming at least 600 calories a day in alcohol alone, 3 pints of beer. I definitely used it to cope with stress, and I need to develop better coping mechanisms. I'm going to lose all the weight in 2020, and I'm also going to get into therapy so I can sort my head out. There are so many unhealthy thoughts I have, and I don't think hating yourself as much as I do is normal. I feel sad but strangely relieved, and like I can actually make changes in my life without her.